How's it going, guys? So the most recent Obi-Wan Kenobi action figure was just revealed and it looks great, but we probably won't be able to get our hands on it for a while. So what do you say we just make our own in this video right now? So Kenobi is finally here and the show is absolutely fantastic so far. I'm loving it. And so, of course, there's so much inspiration, toy photography, stuff I want to do after watching Kenobi. But I don't have a newer Kenobi action figure, so I'm going to make my own with just a couple figures I already have, some paint, and some easy, really easy stuff. So the main focus of this video is to make a really easy custom Obi-Wan Kenobi action figure. So I'm going to be using the Attack of the Clones Black Series figure, which I did not have already, so I just bought for this video. So the face sculpt is actually pretty close to what we have in Kenobi, so that's why I went after him. And so actually the main base of the figure is going to be this Poe Dameron figure that I think came out around Force Awakens. So I'm going to take off his jacket and use this main body for Kenobi. And I'm going to use a couple other small pieces from this figure as well. And that's pretty much going to be it. Once I basically kit bash these things together, I will use a little bit of this burlap to give, you know, a nice little cloak thingy on Kenobi, and that's going to be it. And I'm also going to use this blue paint and some other paint too to get that kind of that blue color that he's wearing in the show and also in the newest Hasbro action figure. And which I do like that outfit, so it's going to be a lot of fun to do that. So I'm just going to start pulling these guys apart and putting these pieces together and making ourselves a new action figure of Kenobi! So I got these three figures all ready to go. So actually the first thing I'm going to do is pop off Poe's head. And a really great thing for removing pieces of figures that you'd like to safely remove is just I usually dunk them in water and put them in the microwave, so the hot water will loosen up the plastic so these joints will pop off real easy. So that's what I'm going to do to pop off Poe's head. Hopefully the head joints will match for these two. If not, I'll figure something out. And what I need from him is actually his little skirt thing. If you look at Obi-Wan in the show, he's got a shirt that goes a little bit past his waist. It's a little bit longer of a shirt. And the figure has that as well, so I want to have that in my custom figure. So I'm going to take this little skirt off of him and eventually plop that onto this as well. So it looks like the joint inside of his neck still is in Obi-Wan Kenobi's head, so I'm just going to pop that out with some pliers. Okay, so I popped it off, and it actually popped right in pretty nicely. It's actually a little bit loose in there, but still got the movement I need. And I'm actually surprised with how well it fits, because so often you put on heads like this, and they don't always fit quite nicely. So that was actually surprisingly great, so I'm happy with that. So yay, hooray! So with him, I'm just going to try and pull down his little skirt thing. Just pull it right down off his legs. Okay, well, I just ripped it a little bit, so that will make it easier to take off, I suppose. Oh well, I'll just have to glue it. There's the rest. So the more I kind of compare and put this thing on Obi-Wan, the more that I realize that this doesn't really fit. It's a little big. It almost looks like he's like wearing like a little skirt or something. So that's not exactly what I was going for. Doesn't really match, but I think I might just go without this, which is fine. I can put that back on him and just go with it as is and paint it. And you know what? The fact that it is a little bit higher of a blue shirt than in the other figure, that's totally fine. So what I've got to do now is I got to paint all up here this blue color. I'm going to have to mix a couple colors to get the right blue. This blue and this gray. Hopefully I should mix those, and that should be fine. And then I'm going to paint his pants a little bit of a darker brown and paint him in some socks too with this light brown over here. And all of this stuff I'm using, so all of these paints, I literally buy these acrylic paints from Walmart. It's really cheap. These are like a couple bucks for one of these things, and they last a long time. And all the stuff's from Walmart. The burlap is from Walmart. So it's all really easy stuff to get a hold of, which is really awesome. So let's get painting.
Okay, so the shirt is just about done, pretty much. Gonna let that dry. I also decided to take the head off because like all I did was just make things difficult. That's definitely something to save till the end. But yeah, I'm gonna move on to the pants now once this dries up. So I'm not too worried about the coat on this brown here too much because his pants are already pretty brown. So if it's not the most perfect coat, it's gonna look fine because underneath it's still pretty brown already. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm just kind of roughly just going over it. So yeah. Okay, so I think the paint is pretty much done. He's still drying a little bit. It's not super clean. I'm gonna add a couple coats later on, like I'll add a clear coat, and I'm also gonna add a little bit of weathering to it as well to make it look a little bit more lived in, because it's a little bit too clean right now. When this stuff dries, it's not super strong. You gotta put some kind of clear coat on it in order for it to work. So, all right, yeah, let's let this dry and then put a clear coat on it. So this is the matte finish that I'm gonna be using. I use this with pretty much every single custom I make. It just puts a nice little finish on the outside, so then there's no sticky stuff and it looks good. So yeah, this is what I'm gonna be using. I will have this linked in the description if you want this, and I'll also have all of this stuff linked in the description if you would like this stuff to make this figure of your own. So let's give it a quick spray.
Okay, so here's what we got so far. He's looking pretty good. Not too bad at all. The matte finish on here looks good. So what I'm gonna do now that I've put this matte finish on here is I'm gonna rub a little bit of this black shoe polish. This is just a way that I like to add a little bit of weathering look to it. And you can use black shoe polish, you could use a watered down black paint. There's so many things you can use. But what I like about this is you can dab it all over. Which is very nice. So I'm gonna do that, dab it all over, and then I'm gonna wipe a whole bunch of the excess off of it with a towel or a rag. It leaves some of the dark black shoe polish in some of the crevices of the figure and adds some little bit of weather to it. And I have a whole video actually on just weathering if you're interested too. So it's basically just gonna be a little bit of that to make this a little bit not so clean, because look at that. Obi-Wan Kenobi is not this clean looking on Tatooine. So yeah. Okay, so that was a subtle but really nice difference, because this was so like nice and clean before, but I'm liking it. So now I'm gonna give it one more coat because I just put on some of that shoe polish and it's gonna get sticky. So one more coat and then the paint should be just about done and we can move on to the burlap cape thingy he's got. So let's go. It's good when you're doing this finish on here to stay a good foot or so away from the figure, just so you're not too close and it gets too globby and drippy. You don't want that, so it's good to keep your distance on that. Okay, so I think I'm learning a lot during this making of this video because I don't think this burlap is really the right move with this, because it just... I just don't, the way it looks is not so great. And it doesn't really glue together very well. It doesn't really hold. And usually with fabric, if you like melt the edges, this doesn't happen with burlap. It just burns. I tried it over here. So I don't think I'm gonna use this. This is just not the right material for this project. So what I'm gonna use instead is I have an old towel. I love just using old random fabric that I have in my house. I have this really old brown towel. I'm gonna cut some of this up and use that for his cape, and I think this should work quite well. I think this material actually will look the part too. I'm gonna cut this up and try this out. Okay, so the towel is actually looking kind of nice. It looks like a towel, but I kind of like it, and it's gonna look good in a photo too. So I kind of got it in the shape where I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna sew this or anything. I don't feel like doing that. I'm just gonna use some super glue to put these folds basically where I want them, and then that will kind of be Obi-Wan's little cape thing.
And all right, here it is. It looks pretty good. I think I'm gonna quickly take a lighter to this and kind of singe the ends a little bit and just kind of make it look like a little bit less like I just cut it really quick. And here we go. We have our very own Ben Kenobi. Definitely not the best. I'm not a pro at this kind of thing, at making customs, but I think he's pretty cool. I think I did a pretty good job. I'm gonna go give him a lightsaber and take a cool shot with him. Well, guys, I think I'm quite happy with the way my Obi-Wan Kenobi, my Ben Kenobi custom figure came out. I think it looks kind of like the show. I think I did a good job. I'm not the best customizer or anything, but I think it looks pretty good. So, hope you enjoyed the video. And if this is your first time watching, thanks so much for watching. I've got a ton of other tutorials about customization and, of course, toy photography on the channel. So definitely subscribe if you're not yet. And thank you so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy the rest of Kenobi.